Yo, what's up YouTube? How's it going? I'm wearing these glasses. I don't know, because I like them. They're just new glasses and I just picked them up. But yeah, we're going to talk about some Mortal Kombat chat. Mortal Kombat 1, the whole thing. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 1 is dead. We hear the dead. I mean, like, look, the game is not dead. It's just no longer being supported by, well, it's still being supported by NetherRealm, but not with DLC. With just various, hey, we're going to fix bugs. We're going to, you know, fine-tune some characters, a nerf and so forth like that. But unfortunately, no DLC, no more cameos, no more extra characters, which is unfortunate. I really enjoy the game. You're like, hey Kenny, how come you barely even play the game? I play the game. You know, I enjoy it. I go back to it. I have fun. What else can I say? I do really enjoy this game. I would say it's one that I can go back to because I really do enjoy it. I actually enjoy watching it. I watched the tournament, and the tournament was awesome. I really did enjoy the tournament. It's very fun to watch now. The game just has a lot of sauce, a lot of creativity, and that's the thing that's unfortunate, because I do believe this is one of the most creative MKs. Because before, and I'll say this, and I've said it many times, there's a variation system, right? And the variation system is like, oh yeah, here you go. Like if you want to have a character play differently. But I believe that the cameo system really allows a lot of expression and a lot of different ways to play. But now, as always, there's a meta, right? So in any fighting game, there will be a meta. And with metas is you go for the best. But at the end of the day, when you're in a tournament, and I know people get tired of seeing it, but picture this. Picture Mortal Kombat tournaments are like an F1 race, right? Are you going to race with a Honda Civic against a Formula One car? No, you're going to make your car be the best car it could possibly be. And that's what happens when you are in a tournament. You are playing, got to play the best. So unfortunately, like a lot of people are like, you know, it is what it is. I come from the days of the arcade where you had to play the best or else you lost your quarters. And yeah, but we live in a day now where you can play whatever you want, and you go just like, hey, we'll do low tier and stuff. Like that's like me. I love doing low tier MK, or actually low tier Marvel. But the whole thing, let's just talk. Yeah, I do believe that the game started off rough, and I'm going to talk about, hey, MK1 is done. What would I like for the next one? Because yeah, I think the game is great. Will they ever do cameo system again? Probably not. I doubt that they'll ever do it again. A lot of the casual fans just weren't a fan of it. I actually liked it. I do believe that the cameo system still had problems because just the way it was implemented. It was a weird hybrid of a tag fighter. It was a tag fighter, but not a tag fighter. Some cameos were ambush and not ambush, and I'm like, I would have just liked to seen the game just go nuts, man. They're all ambush. They're all, you can do, you know, you can call them out whatever. You didn't have to pose. Would it make the game crazy? But yeah, man, look at MKX. MKX was one of the most degenerate games out there with the 50-50s and the rushing, and it's just, but it's one of the most beloved. Some of the most beloved is MK9 and MKX, and I love both of them. Both of them are fantastic. And but the sad thing is, yeah, MK1 was really finding its stride. Now, this video, I'm going to talk about its problems. I'm going to talk about it constructively. I'm not a person that's like, I'm not one of those people that love MK that also hate MK. Any critiques I have are constructive, and I would just like things to be, you know, improved for the next game. Off the rip, everybody did notice that MK1, when it came out, significantly lacked features, and that's just there is no ifs, ands, or buts. It lacked a lot of features, and that's unfortunate, especially when you compare it to like MK11 and Injustice. Very feature-rich games, and this one not so much. Now I don't know what happened, because NetherRealm always has a cycle of putting in so much in their games that where you get like, yeah, and for some reason this one wasn't it, and we don't know, because game production is wild. We don't know what happens behind the scenes. Everything is NDA'd. We don't get an open look like it was like, hey, here's month 1 of Mortal Kombat, here's month 2, right? Like we didn't get, but you never get that. So it was a bit odd to see that MK1 lacked so many features that the previous one had. Like we can talk about the, just the overall presentation. Like, I'm not gonna lie, MK11 wasn't my favorite when it came to like gameplay style, but presentation and everything that you got in MK11 was out of control. Was the best, one of the arguably the best packages in fighting games. The towers, the crypt, the ways you unlocked costumes, and oh yeah, it showed you, oh yeah, you can get this costume here. It showed all the costumes you can get, the colors. So that was fantastic. The crypt was really cool. The story was great, and MK1 was missing a lot of that. And there are many other things like rooms, right? Creating a room to play with your friends, and so many things that just felt like, why was this not in here? Did they run out of time? Was there some problems when they were making the game? Did WB said, hey, we want something, and now, you know what, never mind, we want this? I don't know. I don't work for NetherRealm. I've been there, but I don't know. So with that said, like, the presentation was lacking significantly. A lot of people, and for me, I was actually cool. I like the concept of rewriting history. I think they went safe, and other times they went like a little bit wild, like, Sector and Cyrax. I think that was cool. I think it was neat making them ladies, but I would have just liked to see them go full robot instead of Iron Man suits. I really like that part of the Lin Kuei. A lot of people didn't like Sub-Zero and Scorpion being Sub-Zero and Scorpion and so forth like that. I did watch Foxy Grandpa's video, and I wholeheartedly agree. And maybe and he felt that way. Maybe we're in the minority, but what they teased, the Great Kung Lao in MK11, they should have went with that whole storyline. Like, it's, and I'm going to talk about things that I really want for the next MK. Things that I'm like, man, here's what I want. I know it's already being made, so anything that I would want wouldn't even be considered. But hey, I'd be hopeful. Maybe I call it and they're like, hey, it happened. But I was really excited when they talked about the story of the Great Kung Lao. I would have loved to see that part of history in Mortal Kombat, and maybe, some a Johnny Cage ancestor. Now it goes to the point where it's just like Third Strike or Street Fighter 3, right? Where you have characters and you leave them out and it makes people angry. Hear me out. Hear me out, NetherRealm. Hear me out, video games. You could make a Mortal Kombat and have it be based on the Great Kung Lao saga. Have, new renditions of characters and stuff like that, but then just bring back characters that aren't even part of the story. Oh, well, Rain wasn't in the story, but he's in it anyways. Just, maybe have your cast of like 15 story characters, and then just bring back like every character, regular Sub-Zero. I would say that. And now, especially if they're not going to do the variation system, or if they're not going to do the, say it with me, with the cameos, right? Because the cameos are almost a complete character. They're modeled, they have fatalities, they got moves. So maybe they could do something like that if they don't have to concentrate on doing a bunch of variations. They could just be like, okay, we're going to do our story and it's based on the Great Kung Lao saga, and you're going to find out a lot more history of the tournament and Earth Realm and other realms. I think that would be fantastic. And then you could just put characters that aren't even in the story, just kind of like DLC, just have them be part of the multiplayer, like, right? Let's say you have Sonya. Well, Sonya didn't exist. Put her in there anyways. Or, you know, like maybe Sonya's ancestors or Johnny Cage's ancestors is in the tournament. Have a skin that just puts Johnny Cage or something. I think that would be cool, because it's like, it's tough, right? It's one of those things where it's like Star Wars, where fans, we want Star Wars. Well, what do you want? You want something new? Yes. Okay, here's new characters, new story. No, we want the old, you know, so it's like one of those things where you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So maybe that's just be one of the best ways to have it work. But I would love to see, you know, more characters like in the previous tournament, man. I would love to see the Great Kung Lao in action. I'd love to see that part of MK unravel and learn more, because it is like Star Wars. Like I get it. We love all these characters, yes. So that way we just still put them in there. But I don't know. But these are just some of the things that, hey, this is a crazy Kenny idea. You know, the story revolves around 10 characters, or, you know, 20 or 15, 20 characters. And we're still going to have all the classics and stuff like that. Right? Or maybe the story goes into the next MK, and that way you can have Sub-Zero and all that stuff. But that's the thing that I just wish for. I want to see that part of history. And one other thing, I want deeper lore. And I know if you played some of the old MKs and Conquest mode, there's a lot of lore and all that stuff, but I haven't played that in forever. But believe me, I played the heck out of it, and there was lots of cool characters and lots of really getting more into the lore of the game. Now, what do I mean by that? I would love to know more about Shang Tsung. I would love to be like, hey, this next MK game goes back to the first, you know, goes back to the Great Kung Lao and really explores Shang Tsung, right? Because I believe he's actually human, and he was like, things like that, like show more direction of the characters, right? Like you find out, dang, Shang Tsung was actually a human and actually fought for Earth Realm, but got tempted to go be part of the Outworld when he got taught crazy magic and how to live forever, like tempted, like things like that, like to really flesh out the characters even more, like more stories of the Lin Kuei. I think I would love to see that more, right? Shao Kahn, like go back and really get deep in this lore, right? Because they have a lot of the tournaments, and we know about the characters, but we don't really know. Like I'd love to find out, like, dang, okay, Shang Tsung is a villain, but I'm like, it's one of those things where the villain is a bad guy, but then you notice what they really want, and like, dang, okay, well, why they became a bad guy, and you're like, damn, okay, that's kind of fair, right? Like a whole Killmonger situation where Killmonger was left in, you know, in New York, and everybody was living amazing in Wakanda, and he's like, hey, you know, I would have been abandoned, something like that. I'd like to see more, but that's about it for there. I mean, Mortal Kombat has a lot of lore, especially with the different realms, Order Realm, Chaos Realm, Edenia. Yeah, there's more things like that I think the game can really get into and dive deep and make some cool Game of Thrones type stories, because the story modes in these games are phenomenal. They're fantastic. So I'd love to see that. I'd love to see deeper lore, get more, like learn more about the characters, man. Have chapters of the game where we play with the villains and just add some generic jobbers. And just like you could do generic jobbers. They did it in this last one where they just mixed the characters together, so they could just do something like that, and you could play as the villains and just fun stuff. But anyways, that's one of my main things, I guess, for story. What also we can talk about how MK1 didn't really deliver, especially with customization. And some of the previous games were better. But if I am being real, character customization started really going down. Like Injustice was fantastic. Injustice, you could make so many different awesome, cool looking Batman and with the different colors and the different masks, and it really made you want to play the game more. Now, I believe like if Warner Brothers wants people to play the game more, put more hours into the game, I think you have to build that customization feature again. The Injustice 2 was great, but it was also flawed because you would get so many of the same pieces because, oh, this piece had plus 21 attributes on strength and this, and I'm like, when it was like that, it was annoying. All I wanted was my character to look cool. And then when I was playing the game, I would get like 27 pieces of the same chest armor, but with different attributes and stuff. I'm like, you know what? Take that away. Just give us way more ways to make our characters cool. Because and Injustice 2 was phenomenal. I remember watching Caboose's videos on like all the crazy cool characters that you could create and the cool like colors that you could unlock. Stuff like that was fantastic. It kept people playing. They wanted to make their characters look cool and unique. I think that was great. The game, the customization went down in 11, like from Injustice 2 to 11 was unfortunate because most of the time in MK11, you could change like one really cool thing and then it was like Melina's size and then like maybe a belt or a thing that you could barely notice. There was one cool thing that you could notice and then the rest was like, and it was such a downgrade from Injustice 2 where you could really make your character look unique and you wouldn't really see the same, like, oh yeah, you play a Batman, but they never really look the same. They all look significantly different. And yes, I would love if MK could go back to that. So then you could like, oh, hey, you could unlock things and make classic. And I know, look, we live in the world of DLC and they're like, here's where Kenny's gonna boo me. But yeah, I mean, there could also be DLC that adds more pieces or just classic costumes or ways you can unlock costumes without having it. But I really do miss the customization in NRS games because in Injustice 2 was phenomenal. In MK11 it was okay, but it was fantastic with all the different costumes and the ways you can unlock them. One thing also I would like to see, MK11's presentation. The way you can, you can unlock different intros, outros. It was awesome, like mid things, and like in MK1, it was just like one or two things that you could do, and yeah, it just wasn't there. Oh boy, but yeah. Well, what else can I say? Yeah, I like. Gameplay wise, I don't think the cameo system would come back. It's probably not going to come back. It's unfortunate. I think it could be fine-tuned, but I think too many of the casual audience just doesn't like it. Like, if it was fine-tuned, it would be awesome. Or if it was just straight up tag. I think this half tag wasn't it, but if it was like tag, yes, but MK fans would be upset. I don't know. It worked for Tekken. It could work for MK. I mean, sheesh, if they just went Mortal Kombat tag, like Tekken tag, and Tekken tag 1 is pretty beloved. And yeah, man, oh my God, it wouldn't happen though. But let's just say you do, man, Melina's so much fun. But hear me out. Like, you have MK tag and it has the story of the great Kung Lao, and it's just like tag where they were just, everyone was in there and not everyone has to be part of the story. Dang, I lost that one. But yes, I believe the presentation, if we get to MK11's presentation, it's there. The gameplay wasn't for me. I wasn't a big fan of the crushing blows. I wasn't a fan of the smaller combos, and all you'll be like, oh, Kenny, but look at the, you know, like when you compare it to MKX or MK9, yeah, it's significantly different. But yeah, I think the speed of the game just needed to be turned up just a bit. That just makes it fun. Like UMK3 is fun, MK9 was a lot of fun, MKX. Now I know, but and it's one of these things where you can't please everyone, but you can try to please the most people. So I think something just insanely fast, fun would be great. But what other things? There's me. Yeah, but overall, NRS has done great things. I just think they need to take all their wins in the past and put it in the next game. And yeah. Let's see, other things that I would really enjoy. Oh yes, let's just talk about something that didn't work for me in MK1, and I appreciate the effort, but it just wasn't it, and that's Conquest. Conquest, I appreciate them trying to do something new, something fresh, but it just didn't really hit, and it was, and I'm gonna be real, it was a chore. Like for the first time, oh, okay, cool, you know, the first season, and then having to do the second season again, and it wasn't much different, and the pace of Conquest was just not fun, because you would play one match, then move to the next piece, play one match, move to the next piece, oh, you get invaded, and it just wasn't it. To be honest, I would love to see them. The Crypt, I'd love to see it come back. The Crypt was awesome, but you know what? If they have enough time, make it something like Shaolin Monks. Make it more of a different kind of adventure. I think that would be fantastic if they just said, "Hey, we're gonna." Yeah, it's like an adventure mode. It's the Crypt, but you go in there and it's like a third person and you fight and you get moves. Make it like a roguelike. That would be fantastic. I'd love to see a roguelike Crypt adventure, but that takes a lot of work. But if we're real, NRS does that. NRS, when it comes to that, they are fantastic when they do that. Like NRS really brings it. Unfortunately, in this game, some of it wasn't there, but it was still fun to play, and I think that's why I forgave it a lot, because I have actually fun playing this game. Molina was fantastic. The cameo system is cool, probably in its highest level. Yes, it's extremely busted, but I do like the creativity that it does have. But like I said, chat, fighting games, people are going to go for the meta. That's it. You can't get angry at that. And I know it's like, oh, it's like Call of Duty. It's like everything. People will just use whatever is the best, and that's the way it will be. And I know it's kind of annoying, but hey, play with your friends. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, but anything else that I would like from this game, from the next Mortal Kombat? I talked about better customization, story. I don't know where they're going, but I'd like to see them explore the past. They got to go back and do better with making rooms. A lot of the features that were in some of the old MKs, got to bring them back. Like the Forever Kings and different rooms, and even the stuff like the factions, I think was just a neat little thing that I thought it was a cool thing. And they also had it in Injustice 2. It's just something extra that gets people to play more. I'd love to see an expansion on the Crypt, also with towers as well, just different ways to unlock costumes and neat things, especially because this game is so awesome. And you can see like Johnny Cage, oh, he just gets glasses and that's it. Like, yeah, this game was so close. I'm really excited to see what they do next. And I hope they're just like, okay, hey, because at the end of the day, NetherRealm really kind of tries to push it every time. And oh, here we go. Here's one of the last things that I was reminded that for me, for an MK, is there's no legacy. And you're like, what the hell? What I mean is no legacy like in Tekken. And don't listen to the fans, because the fans are, a lot of the fans are dumb. And what do I mean by that? Because let's say we reuse some animations, we reuse some moves. It happens at every game, but the thing is, people love to call it out more on Mortal Kombat, right? Tekken, I could do combos in Tekken, in like, let's say I'm playing Tekken 7 or Tekken 8 with Nina that have been there since Tekken 3. That's legacy. That's these moves, and they still work. I'd love to see MK start working and building like legacy, where moves don't really, like Melina changes a lot, right? Like her side doesn't reach full. Was in MK11, her roll didn't connect to a combo. I'd love to see. You know what I'd love to see? MKX 2. I'd love to see MKX. And it's just like everything you know in MKX, and it comes back, and you go from there. So hey, all the moves from MKX, and there's some new moves and so forth like that. I really do wish that MK had legacy, and also too, it makes it much more difficult, right, to make a new game, especially when every character now, their moves are different. They're different strings, there's the way the moves work is different, so it's basically making a brand new game. Now in Street Fighter, there's a lot of legacy. Of course, the combos are a bit different, but the characters genuinely really feel the same. Ryu feels like Ryu, Ken feels like Ken, and some of the stuff, you know, in Third Strike, this may not work, but they genuinely feel the way they've always felt. And sometimes in the games, these change significantly. So yeah, I think that's something that I would like MK to start having, is legacy, and having, oh, I played Melina in this game, I could really I could do some MKX combos or something. I think I'd like to see that. That way they can focus on bringing new characters, new mechanics, and not having to rebuild the game from scratch every time, right? Because they build, like Johnny Cage doesn't have his green stuff anymore. He doesn't have a fireball. So yeah, and that's what I mean. But other than that, I really do like MK1. I have maybe 300-400 hours on it. I enjoy going back to it. I play it every once in a while with Max and the crew. It's a lot of fun. The DLCs are crazy fun, but I'm basic and I just stick to like Melina. That's because I'm old and I'm running low on time. But you know, it's just like, yeah, I just get my character and I go with it. But yeah, that's just some of the list of things that I'd love to see in the next MK. I still will play this. I'll probably, you know what, go ahead and play this tonight. Are also things that just maybe sometimes the community, right? Like sometimes it's just, but it's MK. It's a big capital base. There's going to be toxicity, right? I don't know, but it's certain like that and getting every fighting game now. Even Tekken is like full of its one and doneers and all this kind of stuff. So it is what it is. You just got to play the fighting game and just keep going. But that's been my video. Those are the things that I could think out of the top of my head that I'd like to see in the next MK. Because, like I said, I think they were cooking. They had a lot of cool ideas. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys want for the next MK. Any thoughts? Leave them in the comments. We can parlay. But anyways, guys, that's been awesome talking to you. We'll see you guys in the next video. I also have a new YouTube channel. But don't forget, guys, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out. and I appreciate it. And yeah, peace.